I think women in particular, they bring a sense of emotional intelligence and empathy. Always ask yourself, what is my client going through? How can I make my client's life better? I think the most important thing that we need to think of is what added value does or do our products offer consumers. I feel like I'm speaking almost the same language as my creator, and I can assure you that I'm not having the same conversation. Some of the key factors that influencers and creators nowadays need to be mindful of is their authenticity, the content that they're putting out. So it's not about putting out so many pieces of content, it's also about the context.
Hey everyone, welcome to season 2 of the Marketing Bytes. I'm your host G. So, this season we are doing something different. We are in conversation with women who are shaping the future of marketing in the Middle East. And to start us off, we have someone who's done some seriously cool stuff. An award winning marketer, she's worked across automotive, tech, lifestyle, you name it. She's run campaigns across the MENA and APAC regions for brands like Volkswagen, SAIC Motor, and the Lotus Group. And now she's at the heart of the creator economy with RØDE, the global leader in audio technology. I'm so pleased to have Lara Sous in our studio today. Hi, Lara. Welcome to the Marketing Bytes, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. That's a great intro.
So, before we get into the whole journey and everything that you do, there's something I want to start with, something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. A lot of people that I talk to, and I believe in this as well, women really bring some kind of a positive element to marketing or to the general workplace, but which a lot of people don't really talk about or notice on a daily basis. What do you think that is?
Well, you're kicking it off with a very, very interesting question, one that I have been thinking about for a while, and it always plays on the back of my mind. I think women in particular, they bring a sense of emotional intelligence and empathy, but not in a feminine way or in a soft way. They are not afraid to say the bold statements or to highlight the things that sometimes it's unconventional to highlight, and therefore they are aware when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to what the consumer wants and what the consumer needs to hear. They are aware of these insights, and then they can stitch them together in the wider storyboard of whatever campaign they're working on to deliver the message rightly so to the consumer and the end user.
Right. So I think it's really the empathy part that that sticks with me, because there's a lot of things that you see with men leaders when they come together. There's a lot of loggerheads that goes on, but I think with women there is this beautiful balance that gets created.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
so we talk a lot about breaking glass ceilings, but I'd like to really know what happens when you actually break through. So, as somebody in tech or as a woman marketer in tech, how do you think about bringing women up the ladder with you? Do you have a specific approach to mentorship that you're really working on to ensure that the doors remain open for the next Lara in the making?
Next Lara in the making. Love that. So I've always said to my family that I wish I had a younger sibling because I would have been able to pass on all the challenges and all the life lessons that I personally had to go through and give them that shortcut formula so that they can apply it themselves and take on the lessons. What I do is I am 100% genuine and extremely non filtered when I'm working with my fellow peers. This is exactly how I love to portray myself, extremely genuine, authentic, and myself. And I speak from the heart. I speak from all the personal experiences and challenges that I personally had to go through. And I hope that the experiences and the challenges and the stories that I personally went through actually stick or are complemented or reciprocated with my audience or the people that I'm working with, and hopefully it can spark a bit of either an insight or something that will motivate them to either push harder or to try something new or to take on the risk or a challenge. So all the things that I have done myself and all the risks that I have taken myself have been based on conversations one-on-one or even group conversations that I've had with either my fellow peers or my previous mentors that actually sparked something in me and motivated me to take on whatever I had to take on to get to where I am now in my career.
Right. What is it about women that you're really trying to do in terms of, your workspace or your mentorship abilities? Is it something that you're really trying to push hard for women in marketing to come up? So maybe your colleagues, your peers, are you like really pushing for the women to come up in the workspace?
Definitely. I think it's something that women need to be a lot more proud of and confident in doing, to advocate and to create a safe space to advocate for other fellow women to come out. It's not a my success will hinder someone else's success, not at all. It is creating a safe space for fellow women and fellow men as well, so the younger men and the younger generation to be able to find their space, to find their voice, support them in being able to deliver their ideas and see their ideas materialize. And to me, everyone has a story to share.
Yeah.
We have this amazing technology that we are blessed with. Every day we're seeing new things coming, and we have the platforms that allow us to share our stories. And this is what we need to be able to do. We need to be able to put our egos to the side.
Yes, and leverage one another.
100%.
Yes, absolutely. So, Lara, take me back in time. How did you end up in marketing? How did it all begin?
So it began quite randomly, and this is something that not a lot of people know about me. I actually started in a purchasing department a long, long time ago, and during my university days, I used to also do student work, part of our financial aid system.
Right.
So I did intern and I did use my hours in the purchasing department. And I thought, this is something that I really want to take on as a career when I graduate, that this is what's meant for me. And then I realized early on that this is not what I want to do, and that's not who I am as a person. It's not really gelling well with me. So tried different things, be it with the events department and different verticals in the wider marketing sphere. And then I decided, unfortunately, in Lebanon, with the volatility of the country, to just pack and leave. And I wanted to come to Dubai to kind of see, almost over 10 years ago, to kind of see what the hype was all about.
Wow.
And I remember back then when social media was kicking off and digital was kind of on the rise, and I really wanted to tap into that and learn more about marketing from a digital social perspective, and that's how it all started.
Right. So it was basically starting off with doing something completely different to then finding your niche at marketing in the Middle East, per se, like the UAE in general, right?
100%.
Super. Now, I've noticed that you've moved around a lot. You worked with agencies, you worked in automotive, and now tech. Most people I know, they really stick to one niche and then they stick with it forever. But what is it for you? Like, what keeps pushing you to try new stuff?
This is also a very good question. I mean, all your questions are great, but this is a particularly good question because I always think to myself, how did our parents do it in the past, sticking to like one job or one particular role for over like 50 years? It's quite intense. From me, it's about being able in that moment to learn everything that you can whilst you're in that field. And once you feel like you've mastered all the skills in that particular vertical or that particular role, you either try to grow within the company into a different department or try something else, or perhaps it's time to pivot and take the risk and try something that you've always been thinking about or you've probably parked on the side. And to me, it's similar to fitness or physical training. It's also training your brain and training your mind to doing new things, trying new things, as long as you're inquisitive and curious about what's out there in the world and in the field that you're interested in. I think that's what you need to like always focus on.
Right. So it's also the challenge and the curiosity, like you said, to wanting to learn new things, right?
Yes.
And I think even challenge is a very important part that I see from what I know about you. I think you've always walked towards, the challenging part because you've had this eagerness to wanting to learn new things.
100%.
Super. Okay. Lara, you've played on both sides of the game. You've had agency life and you've also worked on the client side. What is it in those agency days, in the middle of all the chaos, your crazy deadlines? What was that one learning that you had in those days?
Well, it's not greener on any side. It's greener literally, and I know it sounds very cliche, but it's greener wherever you are.
You have to make that patch greener wherever you are, right?
100% water that patch, people, because I always get that question, like which side do you prefer? Both sides have their positives and their challenges, but it's greener wherever you water it. So from my to bring it back to my agency days, I think I take a lot of pride in having had gone through my agency days, and it wasn't easy, obviously, with big corporations like Mimak Ogilvy, or even with Service Plan Group, that I'm forever grateful for the opportunities that they have given me and that were offered to me. I learned to project manage so many different campaigns. I was exposed to a massive group of people from different cultures, different walks of life, and um, to be able to really understand the different asks from clients, from brands, because they all speak different languages, different styles. So how are you able to take on what the client is really giving you or briefing you, and how can you deliver the ask, or how can you deliver what is it exactly that they're asking for without so many ping pongs in between?
Right. You really have to mold yourself into different roles, right?
100%.
Especially with an agency life.
Put yourself in the client's shoes. That's what I have always been told, and that's what I have passed on to a couple of people that I have worked with back in the day from the agency life. When I moved to client side, always ask yourself, what is my client going through? How can I make my client's life better? If I were in their shoes, what would I have been able to do, or could I do better? Because sometimes you do get dragged into the day to day or into the reporting and the presentations. Absolutely. And the last minute business deadlines. Yeah. So yeah, clients have to rely a little bit more on their agency peers in order for them to do the day-to-day tasks.
Right. Lara, I want to know a little bit about your experience working across various industries. You've moved around automotive, lifestyle, tech, and now even the creator economy. All of these with completely different functions. But what is that one thing that has always stayed constant for you, regardless of the industry?
That's a very, very smart question. And I think we can tackle this question in twofold. From a business perspective, there are the KPIs that each and every single business has. What are its objectives and the targets that the business needs to achieve and ultimately have a profit?
Yeah.
And from a personal or on a one-on-one human relation, it's the people. So building that trust and having that trust between the people, building that, finding that integrity and finding that confidence between one another is the common ground between those two.
Right. But what is something that you think has really stayed constant with you? Has it been the integrity part, or has it been the KPIs for you which are more important? Which of these are of more importance to you as a marketer?
As a marketer, I would say the trust is something that has stuck with me and is something that I base everything off of. Building that trust with one another, and sharing those commonalities between me and my fellow peers or fellow marketeers, or even with other individuals that I end up coming across with. When you're working towards the same objective, and when you have that same vision and same goal, I reckon that trust will be a lot more solidified and allows you to really conquer whatever that you need to achieve.
Right, right. I'm a little curious about the next question now. The industries that you've worked in so far tend to be slightly more male dominated. Now, as you've grown in your career, what's mattered more to you, adapting to the room or gradually changing it?
That is a very good question. We need to be politically correct.
Yes, you can, but you can also be honest.
I would say that yes, the male dominant industries do exist and they are real. And it's extremely important for women. Before I shed light on an answer for the question, to stay resilient and to stay true to their beliefs and to their goals and objectives of what they would like to achieve as part of their personal resume and as part of their career. With that being said, it's important to understand and read the room, see how the industry functions or how the brand that you work with functions, and if there's any room to change or if there's any room to bring new ideas forward, then go ahead and do it.
Let's shift gears slightly and talk about brand
Pun
building.
intended.
Yes, of course. So we are shifting gears, okay, and talking a little bit about brand building and PR strategy, something that you have worked on in your entire career, or rather from the beginning of your career. I feel like today every brand is trying to tell a story and they're trying really hard to do that. But overall, it ends up being, or it rather disappears, or it just turns into noise.
Mhm.
What, according to you, actually makes a story land with people?
Yes, we're seeing so much noise in the market. And as I'm wrapping up 2025 and looking ahead for 2026 with the predictions, not just from the tech space, but also within the creator economy and with consumers as well. So, what do consumers want? I think the most important thing that we need to think of is what added value does or do our products offer consumers, and how are they different from what the competition already offers or has to offer in the market. It's very important for brands to really do their due diligence and do their research to understand what are they trying to market, who are they speaking to, are they speaking in their local language, or are they just trying to upsell, are they just trying to penetrate the market and then they dissipate or they disappear. These are extremely important questions that each and every single marketeer and brand representative needs to understand. Research is extremely important, and understanding the sentiment of the consumer is also extremely important because it allows you to identify where you are amongst others in the market.
So let's talk about your shift into the creator world with RØDE. It seems like a bold new chapter for you in your career. Now you're marketing to creators, podcasters, filmmakers, basically people that are creating a lot of content. What's that transition been like for you?
It's been absolutely refreshing, transitioning from the auto world into the creator space and the tech space with RØDE in particular. and to be a part of the journey that each and every single creator has to offer. We have been working with so many creators, and we have been collaborating with so many creators in the MENA region, and it has been absolutely refreshing and energizing to see how unique and how creative their storytelling can be when they are either doing a product unboxing or a product demoing on their social channels. It's extremely fulfilling to see as from a brand's perspective.
From a brand's perspective, yes. It's also very nice to know or listen to positive feedback from all of your customers, right?
Yes, 100%.
Right. I want to touch on the psychology of the Rhodes audience today. You're now marketing to marketers, and creators these days, I think, have become very smart. They know when they are being sold to. Does that make your job harder?
100%. 100%, but it makes it so much more intriguing and so much more exciting because I feel like I'm speaking almost the same language as my creator, and I can assure you that I'm not having the same conversation that I'm having with one creator as opposed to like the next creator. Every creator, even though we are uniting them when it's time to launch one particular product, or when we have one particular project that we all need to be aligned on, each and every single conversation is unique to the creator because they deliver their messages in a unique way. They have their own unique style, they have their own unique voice, they have their own unique nuances that they also bring to their social media pages. And therefore, what we are offering them is opportunities to bridge these gaps and supply them with the right tools, with the right equipment that will allow them to deliver the message that complements their aesthetics and their look and feel.
Right. How do you build trust with a group like this, especially in the creator world? You know, how is it a very hard thing to do for you now because there's just so many creators around? How does that work for you?
This is a very good question, and trust goes both ways. From our side, luckily for us, RØDE is a very reputable brand. We've been in the audio space and in the tech space for a really long time, and we are well recognized by so many creators, not just around the world, but also in the MENA region. So, luckily for us, we are very blessed to be in a space that allows creators to get excited to working with us and to try our gear and see the kind of equipment that we also have to offer and the tools that we also have to offer, and that we're putting out in the market. And we also trust that they will be able to deliver this unboxing or the product demo in a very pristine, professional way. And therefore, it's a two-way street.
It does have to work two-way. It's always a two-way process, right?
Yes, 100%.
Perfect. Yeah. Lara, it's become such a crowded space now. There's all kinds of creators in the market. When you're choosing someone to represent RØDE, what is it that you're focusing on? Is it polished content or like real authenticity?
It's a mix of both, but I would be leaning more towards the authenticity. Again, to bring it back to what I mentioned earlier in the previous sections of our conversation, we spoke about wrapping up 2025 and looking ahead for 2026. And some of the key factors that influencers and creators nowadays need to be mindful of is their authenticity, their cultural relevance, the content that they're putting out. So it's not about putting out so many pieces of content, it's also about the context.
It's the quality as well, the quality of the content.
100%. Right. So there cannot be a compromise. There has to be a solid balance between these factors in order for the creator to deliver their content in a way that genuinely resonates with the consumers. Because at the end of the day, as brand representatives, we're also end users. We are also consumers ourselves. So when you're seeing a particular creator or a particular brand overselling or going over the top with their content, it puts you off and it immediately raises some, I wouldn't say red flags, but orange flags.
Right, right.
And we need to be a little bit more, we need to be able to connect a little bit more with those creators that genuinely and authentically deliver the message without being too salesy or too pushy in the face of the consumer.
Right, right. I think it's very important, the authenticity part, more than anything else.
Yes.
You know, because you're connecting with the consumers, and the consumers are then connecting with the creators, and then back to road.
Yes.
So I think this part is very, very important. It's
100%.
vital, authenticity. Even I'm leaning towards that bit now.
Yes.
Great. Okay, Lara. So what's next for RØDE? What are you really excited about? What's the next best thing that's happening with RØDE?
Well, we've had a very, very cool year this year, and we also had a very exciting year for the brand in the MENA region. We've had back-to-back launches with, like I said, our Roadcaster Video S, which is the compact version of our Roadcaster Video. We've had the wireless micro camera kit, our wireless micro color variations, our boom arm in color, our interview go in color. So we've had very exciting quarter with so many launches, and we're going to have an even more so exciting 2026 with more products that we're going to launch for creators to use and take advantage of. We're very excited to what the year is going to bring. Next year in the MENA region at the 1 billion follower summit, we've got an exciting year next year, and we're kicking it off with the 1 billion follower summit, where we've got an exciting booth with so many different activations for creators to take a part of and really explore hands-on our products, in addition to workshops and other opportunities where they can win really cool gear. So we're very excited about what the year has to bring forward, and to really be able to tap even more in the creator economy space.
This is fantastic. I would love to be part of the BFS, the
We
one
can't
BFS
wait to
summit.
see you.
Yes, we would love to. This sounds really exciting, and I wish you good luck on that as
Thanks
well for
so
2026.
Much. Thank you.
Lara, you've worked a lot across different communities, and like really passionate communities. And I'm talking about car enthusiasts, tech fans, and now the creator world. Each of these groups comes with its own energy and its own set of rules. How do you really keep these communities genuinely engaged?
Yes, it's all boys communities.
No, this is a women in marketing, women's only, empowering women show. So
100%.
let's also focus a little bit on that.
But they're being steered by women.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yes, 100%. So there's always something out there for the creators to engage with. And even if it's a product that has been available in the market for a while, or even if it's a new product that we're launching really soon, each and every single product is a cool opportunity for you, for me, for any creator out there to tell its story in a unique way. And I think that's how you keep those creators engaged. And that's what also excites them, to be able to really get closer to the brand and learn more about the state of the art technology that these brands have to offer, and at the same time be a part of the journey that the brand wants to create and wants to write in the markets that they themselves are a part of.
It's a very interesting take on how you were really able to manage different communities and brands, and then again keep them engaged in a certain way that aligns with the vision of the company.
100%. I can add few bits and bobs here by saying that we were able to not only tap into the tech space, for instance, with creators. I was able to engage with bookstagrammers. I was able to engage with lifestyle creators, with automotive creators as well, and bring that lifestyle unique element to the products that we have to offer, and really show how unique the RØDE products are and how they can blend into your day-to-day life without it being too salesy or too pushy as a product review.
So, moving on to the next section, I want to really touch upon the reality of marketing that the outside world doesn't really know or notice. So, for someone who's not associated with marketing, to them, marketing is a very glamorous line. You're running all of your campaigns, you're working with creators, all of your fancy launches, but what they don't see is what really goes on behind the scenes. So, what's a part of the job that quietly takes up a huge amount of your time?
Yes, it's exactly everything that you have mentioned, and all the after hours that no one really sees or talks about, and all the research. Again, I do talk a lot about research and making sure that you have the right profiles, the right personalities, the correct media outlets, that they are all briefed. And the right messaging. Messaging is extremely important.
Communication.
Yeah,
Yes.
communication is extremely important. So it does look glamorous. It does look that it's the perfect side of any brand entity,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of heavy lifting that goes behind the scenes in the marketing department. As I said, be it with strategies, so you're not only devising strategies for the region, you sometimes you have to go per market and really tap into those cultural nuances that make markets unique on their own. And then you have to tackle creators in each market and steering them in the right direction or on one path is extremely, I wouldn't say difficult, but it requires a lot of manpower. So alignment, strategizing, doing the research, communication, being on top of these little projects that are happening and pushing them all towards the end result.
So, what we're saying is that, in a nutshell, marketing to the people who are not associated with it or to the outside world may come across as being very glamorous, which it is.
Yes.
But there's a lot of strategy, planning, late nights that go behind it that the outside world must know about.
100%. Oftentimes, and I completely agree with you, 100 oftentimes a lot of the people see the end result. They see the product launch, they see the cool event, the cool activation, but they don't see the manpower or all the heavy lifting that has been done behind the scenes, whether it's from the strategies that were put in play or doing the research to ensuring that you have the right creators and the right media outlets with you. If you have an event, you have the right setup, everything, the storytelling and everything is being delivered explicitly well to the end user and to the media or to the journalist or to the creator. So making sure that they're all at the same time sharing the unboxing or the product demoing or the press article, and you're getting positive results out of these reviews, and the hits are all they're taken in a positive sentiment, in a positive light. This is something that requires a lot of hands-on work and demands a lot of work as well.
Absolutely. A lot of hands on and hard work.
Hard work.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Lara, marketers love dashboards. They are constantly tracking something. You're either looking at your analytics, you're looking at your dashboards, you're looking at reports, various kinds of reports. But I feel that not every metric is useful. Given a choice, which metric would you completely remove? Like completely remove it from your dashboards and your conversations.
100%. I think as you're speaking, I was thinking that maybe I should change my handle or maybe do a podcast called Lara Reports. Like the amount of reports that we have to do is insane. And that is a very, very good question, especially nowadays with how much the social media platforms and the digital tools have evolved. The metrics and the KPIs have evolved with them as well. And what used to matter maybe 10, 12 years ago no longer matters nowadays. So, to answer your question, the impressions, I think, is a metric that is no longer valid in our nowadays time because you want something that's measurable, you want something that's tangible, you want something that is able to actually generate not only a lead, but to drive that lead to either the checkout form, if you're doing e-commerce, or to your showrooms if you want to drive a car or if you want to take a car for a test drive. So the impressions are a little bit of a metric that
It's
is
not
no longer,
tangible in a way, right?
yes, correct.
Absolutely. We've talked a lot about where marketing is today, all the creator economy, your communities, Middle East per se. But the industry is really shifting so rapidly with AI and tech changing things every few months. When you look at the future, what is it that you're looking at, or what is it that you're focused on?
Yeah, definitely a very good question, and a question that everyone's been asking for a while. We always have different answers as well. It's very intriguing to see amongst creators how they are adapting and adopting the AI technology, the different tools that AI has been offering creators and end users as well. For me, I would say it's to be able to really use the AI tools in a way that still allows the creator to come across as unfiltered and genuine rather than gamifying or making everything look over the top. Some of the research that I have been doing and from my predictions for 2026 is that the end user and consumers, they want a lot more genuine conversation. They want things that don't look too gimmicky,
Made up.
or too artificial or
Yes.
made up. Exactly. So these are the kind of things that we want to see. We want to be able to have a healthy blend of AI technology and AI solutions, but still have that human and emotional touch to the content that's being created.
Yeah, it has to be straight from the heart.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
100%.
Right.
Exactly.
Great. All right, Lara. We are at the end of this show, which means that it's time to have some fun. Our next segment is called Sip or Spill, or rather, vitamin shot sip or spill, because these are non alcoholic, obviously.
Super.
So here's the deal. I ask a question, you either spill the beans, tell me the truth, or just take a sip and say nothing at all. Sounds good?
Sounds great.
All right, super. Here we go. What's the one marketing trend you secretly hate right now?
That is a very good question. I think I will spill, and it's not road related or tech related. I heavily despise the Labubu trend.
It has a very negative connotation to it as well, so I agree with you on that.
Yes.
Labubu's everywhere.
Yes, 100%. I couldn't stand the Labubu trend. I think it was over the top and it just was a bit obnoxious.
It is, absolutely. All right, next one. Have you ever ghosted a recruiter or candidate?
Well, I have been ghosted myself, but I will not answer. So I will say.
Take a short spill. How do you like the vitamin shots?
Very good. Very refreshing, actually. It's really good. Recommended for everyone.
Super. Who's harder to please, a luxury car buyer or a YouTuber?
A YouTuber. No questions asked.
No questions asked,
Yes.
absolutely. They're the tough ones, right?
They're the tough ones. So opinionated.
Have you ever pitched an idea and immediately regretted it mid-sentence?
Yes. Sometimes you have to read the room and you have to get the vibe of the people that you're pitching the idea to. Oftentimes, if the vibe is not really gelling well, the idea that you have or the idea that you're thinking of and you're sharing comes across a bit weak.
Yes.
And if the person that you're sharing this idea with doesn't really match or try to reciprocate at the same wavelength, then it gets
dissolved completely.
100%.
Right.
Yes.
All right, next one. Ever had a brand deal fall apart at the last minute? And what happened? We want to know the truth.
That's another truth. I think I can answer this.
Great.
As usual in any business, yeah, brand deals, I wouldn't say they fell apart. They just did not materialize.
Okay.
And yeah, simply because we were reaching a very, very tough deadline, and certain variables were not really adding up, and therefore we couldn't go ahead with the project.
Next one. What's the funniest or strangest media request you've ever received?
I will definitely spill.
Okay.
That was quite a long time ago, and we had an activation in a neighboring country in Oman, which is a 45-minute flight, and we were all flying economy. That was a long, long time ago, but I do remember it was mentioned in our terms and conditions, the flight ticket and the fact that it was economy, and unfortunately it did not sit well with one of the individuals that we have invited to be a part of this activation, even though they did approve and they had no problem at all taking an economy flight that we were all a part of, so no one had an exception. And also the fact that it was only 45 minutes. And
exactly, like 45 minutes economy doesn't really matter, right?
It does not matter. And you're flying Emirates if you're flying from Dubai, so it's not like Emirates is a very, very prestigious airline, and therefore it did not sit well with them when they landed. We had to have an earful, but luckily for us, it all it blew off. So.
Right. So yeah, it does make part of the strangest media request, and too many expectations, right?
Yeah, it was a strange media request.
Right. Next one. Have you ever said yes to a collab knowing it might be a headache later on?
Yes. It wasn't much of a collab as much as it was an agreement or a contract that we've signed, and I knew that it was gonna give me a headache.
All right. So we are looking at more spills than sips, yeah? All right. What's one trend you think will disappear faster than what people expect?
I think I will sip on that one.
Super. All right, this is the end of the section. I had so much fun. This was awesome.
Amazing, thank you.
Great. So, Lara, this has been such a great conversation, Thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights with our viewers. But before you go, there's something I want to ask you. There's probably a young woman somewhere who's listening to this right now and who aspires to be a CMO someday. If you had to tell her just one thing, what would it be?
That's a very, very good question. And I want to thank you for ending this on such a high note and with such an insightful question. I would definitely say to the young marketeer, whether female or male, to not be afraid to follow your dreams. Always be curious about what's out there in the world. Do not hesitate to speak up your mind, try things, do not be scared to fail. There's absolutely no shame whatsoever in failing, but there's a lot of shame in staying in your comfort zone or not even trying.
Or giving up for that matter.
So go after your gut, try new things, explore. The world is filled with so much and so many opportunities if you decide to see the glass half full.
Super. I love that answer. This has been so inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, Lara, for kicking off season 2 with us. And I wish you the best of everything in 2026 and more.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been absolutely great. The questions were absolutely superb, and I wish you guys all the best.
And to everyone listening, keep shining, keep growing, and never stop believing in your own power. This is me signing off at the Marketing Bytes. See you on the next one. Plug in, power up, press play.